Hello. All right, my guys. Now that we have specified and modeled our requirements, we get to verify them. Yay. What's the purpose of verify requirements? The purpose of verify requirements is to ensure that requirements and design specifications and models meet quality standards and are usable for the purpose they serve. Remember, we are grabbing a fuck ton of information and trying to make something out of it. And the last thing we want to do is be very efficient at something that's not productive, or be very effective about something that's completely useless to what we're trying to do, right? Like one time, in the pursuit of a project, I went and I studied a completely new software language. It helped me when it came to software. It did not help me when it came to the project itself. But hey, for me, I was still being productive, although those 3 months could have been invested more in the project itself. So here, description. Verifying requirements ensures that the requirements and designs have been defined correctly. Really, this is just regurgitating shit. A high quality specification is well written and easily understood for its intended audience. A high quality model shows the formal. So basically, you're taking the model and you're fucking testing it with other people. You're making sure you're showing it to the stakeholders and you're telling them, is this good? Or you're getting feedback around it. I think there's this relationship between like specifying and modeling a requirement and kind of like getting feedback while verifying it. Now, ultimately, like what you're inputting is the specified and modeled requirements. Any requirement design or set of those may be verified to ensure that the text is well structured and that the matrices and modeling notation are used correctly. Like literally here, they're just kind of like now their verification is making sure like it's something that people can use. It's not the I think in the validation state we're like, okay, so now I can actually read what you did and it seems like it looks good. I can understand it. Let's see if you actually put the relevant shit in it. Let's see if you actually are if it's something that we would use for this project. So the input is the requirements after they're specified and modeled. What we're supposed to do is to put them and we verify them, and then after that we get the verified requirements, and then we use them. The tasks using this output is approval of requirements. You see, that's the validation point. I fucking told you. I love it. I love it. I love it. And guidelines and tools, we just have a requirements lifecycle management tools. We just discussed them earlier, but what are the elements, characteristics of requirements, and design quality? While quality is ultimately determined by the needs of the stakeholders who will use the requirements or the designs, acceptable quality requirements exhibit many of the following characteristics. Atomic, which means like it's self-contained and is capable of being understood independently of other requirements and designs. As in every part of it is kind of self-explanatory, right? Complete enough to guide further work at the appropriate level of detail for work to continue. The level of completeness required differs based on the perspective or methodology. So it has to lead somewhere. It can't be just here. Self-contained is different than standalone when they're talking about the atomic part, right? Self-contained is different than standalone. Complete, that means like there's something about it that allows you to take a step forward with it or reflect on a step backwards. Consistent as in aligned with identified needs already, like we're still working within the same train of thought, within our same strategy and our same focus. Concise as in the details are not yet to be created. That'll be a waste of time. What we're doing right now is we're establishing what is the strategy towards the requirements that we're actually towards the solution that we're working on, and we want to make sure like what we're thinking about is correct before we start deep diving into it, or else that would be a waste of time. Feasibility, which is basically reasonable possible within the agreed upon risk schedule, budget, and everything basically that we have considered. If it's considered feasible, then we can actually dive deeper. If it's not feasible, then what's the problem? What's the point? Unambiguous, the requirement must be clearly stated in such a way that make it clear whether the solution does or does not meet the associated need. That's I think we lose track because we always feel like what's in our head is what everyone else understands. But what we're all the time when we're working, we're trying to express how we see the world, and especially when it comes to like business analysis, because you're literally the neutral center that you're taking something from somewhere or a lot of people and you're projecting it somewhere else. So as you understand, you have to show people what you understood more than that you did. The last thing you want is trust me, bro, I got this. It has to be testable. It could be prioritized as in ranked, grouped, and you can actually say we can do this now, we can do this in a while. Quantified here. I would use, instead of prioritize, I'd use quantifiable and understandable ultimately. What are the verification activities? Amazing. Verification activities are typically performed iteratively throughout the requirements analysis process. Iteration, I fucking love this word. Verification activities include checking for compliance with organizational performance standards for business analysis, such as using the right tools or methods. Fuck you, man. Like, really, what the hell is your problem? You keep repeating the same bullshit. I think it's become intuitive for me right now because I've been saying this out loud for the past fucking 8 chapters. But I'm assuming that's basically the point of such a bloated book. I love you guys. Bear with me. Yalla, we're at chapter 7. We're almost at chapter 10. Checking for correct use of model invitation templates and forms. So that's when you're verifying, you're not verifying your thoughts on the project. You're just verifying the actual way you modeled. You're not validating yet. So whatever you've written could be crap, but what you're doing is looking at how you have written it, how you have designed it, how you have shown the formats and the structures and the Excel sheets. That's what we're looking at now. So basically, checking for completeness with each model. So like, oh my God, it's complete. It has nothing to do with the project, maybe, but it's complete, right? Comparing each model against other relevant models, checking for elements that are mentioned in the model or missing in other models, verifying, ensuring the terminology used in expressing the requirement is understandable, blah, blah, blah. Adding examples where appropriate for clarification. Here's the checklist by the end, like exactly like that. You're looking and here you're adding examples where appropriate for clarification. That's where you're kind of like realizing, oh, here maybe this would help ease the thing. You're literally just, it's the pitch, it's the presentation. Like, verifying your requirements is verifying the presentation of your requirements or of your research or whatever. And then checklists basically are used for quality control. Like, did we do this? Did we do that? And from there, I feel like every single piece of the flow has its own like relevant checklists based on the information we gathered over the course of like whatever, over the course of our work. The purpose of a checklist is to ensure that the items determined to be important are included in the file required deliverables or that the steps required of the verification process are followed. Yay. Guidelines and tools, requirements lifecycle management tools, and some tools have functionality to check for issues related to many of the characteristics. Yay. All right, techniques. Well, acceptance and evaluation criteria techniques. This is chapter 10, by the way. See, I love this. We actually were able to jump. But let's do this, please. Acceptance and evaluation criteria techniques are used to ensure the requirements, item tracking, metrics and key performance indicators, KPIs, and reviews. KPIs are very important, by the way, because that's you quantifying work and you get to play with it, right? You get to choose. The simplest KPIs is how many people basically are going to benefit from the project and how many people after like applying a project, for example, right? A KPI is how many people use a software daily. That's a KPI. It's basically users per day. Those are what indexes are. And so you basically decide what's a good performance indicator and move on from there. Who are the stakeholders? All of them, you kind of like, whatever, man. The business analyst, the conjunction to the domain and implementation subject matter expert. You kind of determine anyone. Other stakeholders may be discoverable, like problematic requirements during requirements communication. Therefore, all stakeholders could be involved in this task. It can be literally management. It could be the CEO, even. It could be like every other guy on the actual floor working in a factory, or every salesman logistically traveling across the country at night. Outputs. Requirements verified. A set of requirements or designs that so the outputs are that I don't like it when I'm just reading because I kind of like go on the flow. And what are the expected outputs are going to be received by like we'll have verified requirements, and our next stage would be to validate. All right, guys, I love you. This is a video.